Hello, people of the internet. Today, we are diving into a very sensitive, very heated, very complicated topic that has recently taken the internet by storm again, and that is the controversy of Sienna Mae and Jack Wright. This video is not going to be just about blindly taking sides. This situation is very complex. There's a lot of layers involved, a lot of people involved, and so my goal with the video is essentially to provide you with the facts, let you know my thoughts and reflections, and talk about how it reflects maybe some bigger conversations. I will let you know who I stand with at the end of the video. Let's start with a little bit of background about the individuals themselves. So who is Sienna Mae and who is Jack Wright? Sienna Mae rose to fame on TikTok in 2020 for her very refreshing and upbeat personality, as well as her body positivity content. And of course, at the time, everyone was looking for something relatable, something clean feeling, just something that's not the norm of all of the rich, skinny influencers that there were out there at the time. Because of that, she just became super relatable and became one of the most favored influencers on TikTok. Jack, on the other hand, was a member of the Hype House. We remember the Hype House. Some may call it a collective of young influencers. And he also grew to fame around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier than Sienna. A big part of his fame was obviously his dances, his lifestyle content, and his skits where he really performed his acting skills to the maximum. As they both started blowing up, they both started making content together, and they realized that people loved to see them make TikToks together. Like, fans ate that shit up. They started shipping them. They started garnering millions and millions and millions of views. In fact, these videos with them together would be the highest performing videos on both of their pages. Millions of views equals a lot of brand deals, a lot of sponsorships, a lot of money, okay? This will be important later on. We have TikTok's golden duo. We know that things are happening behind the scenes. None of them ever confirmed that they were actually in a relationship. Let's look at a little bit of a timeline. In early 2021, rumors about the nature of the relationship started swirling around and fans started shipping them together. Were they friends? Were they more than friends? But again, neither of them confirmed anything outright, so that also kept fans on their toes. In May of 2021, Mason Rizzo, a friend of Jack, would then release a tweet that essentially stated that Sienna had demonstrated some very concerning behavior, including non-consensual behavior, toward Jack. Following that, a few days later, Sienna released her first public denial. She called the accusations baseless and emphasized that clips being used against her were taken out of context.
As I said in my last video, and I will keep saying, I did not sexually assault Jack Wright. And somehow, I still have enough love for Jack to not disclose any of his private information because it's not my place. It's not my place to talk about his assault, and I will not do so. And this is something I'm going to leave up to you to share or not, because I understand that that experience is so traumatic, and I'm still so sorry you have to deal with that.
Now, in June of 2021, Jack released a TikTok. He didn't confirm anything. He didn't deny anything. He didn't add any details. He really just asked for some privacy, presumably so he can decide what his next steps were. Then 7 months later, on January of 2022, Jack released the video, What Sienna Mae Did to Me. This has racked up millions and millions of views since then. In this video, he told his stories in very specific detail and was very emotional about the situation. He explained a lot of things in the video.
Now I realized that I was stuck in this manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me.
One of those things were that he no longer wanted a relationship with Sienna. Sienna's immediate response was to, again, deny all the allegations, deny all the accusations, and say that no matter what, she's going to continue creating content despite the backlash that she was facing on the internet.
I feel proud of the person that I am. Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do. We're all learning and growing.
Since then, after posting her public denial once more, she decided to take a long hiatus from being on the internet as prevalently as she used to be, and she started posting more innocuous style content. This is where things get heated, okay? There are two really big developments of the story. One is, just a week ago, Sienna posted a video breaking down every single detail of the controversy. She explained how a lot of things were taken out of context and offered the remaining context around those incidents, and it really helped help paint a more clear picture about the kind of relationship that they truly had. She also provided texts and videos affirming her story and kind of debunking Jack's narrative. For example, she released this text, and in this text we can see that Jack clearly did not want the relationship to end, but Sienna did want the relationship to end. She, of course, took the opportunity in this video to reiterate her innocence and also spoke briefly about turning to religion. Let's go a little bit more into Jack Wright's allegations in detail. Okay, so Jack described several incidents where Sienna was very manipulative and pushed boundaries and isolated him, and that he felt like he couldn't speak up essentially because of the public eye. He also claimed that there was a video with proof of what had taken place, which would in fact be released not that long after. This was the breaking point for the public to where they had the proof that they wanted. They had the proof that what Jack was saying was right, and they absolutely shredded Sienna, and rightfully so. I mean, it really looked like his story was genuine at the time. However, in Sienna's video, she addressed the viral party video. She addressed the context in which it was taking place. She painted a very clear picture with the evidence that she had of the fact that her and Jack did in fact have a mutually close, playful, and meaningful relationship. Despite it being romantically one-sided, it seems as though it was physically not very one-sided. What stood out to me is how consistent and detailed her story is, and how it really does align with what took place, as well as her behavior before, during, and after the controversy. She did end up turning to faith, and I do not believe in organized religion being a way to justify your actions, but in this particular case, it does seem like it gave her something very purposeful and grounding amidst all the chaos that she was experiencing. No tea, no shade. I want to also acknowledge a couple other really big factors. Okay, don't come for me, but I think it's really important that we acknowledge them. And that is that in so many niches, especially in entertainment niches, white men are at the top. They just are. And this makes it so much more easy to vilify women. Sienna, as a young woman of color, probably faced more backlash and an even steeper uphill battle, because with the public eye and how they perceived her and Jack, I'm sure there was systemic biases that took place, yada, yada, yada. Those are just my beliefs. In an also unfortunate turn, this whole controversy took place while there were so many disgusting red pill ideologies that were surfacing online and becoming a trend and a more popular lifestyle and way of living. These red pill ideologies that happened to coincide with the exact time that she was accused, it does encourage skepticism, whether you want to admit it or not, especially towards women in allegations or conflict, okay? This is the reality. I guess it's just disturbing to think of how much easier it is now for men to dismiss women's genuine perspectives, even when there's more nuance to the situation that they purposefully overlook. Anyway, so part 2 to the development is that Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield on their canceled podcast often referenced a character named Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, they reference this character because he dressed up as Jeffrey Dahmer 3 times in a row for Halloween, and he also said really weird, strange things about thinking of unaliving his girlfriend during a game of Never Have I Ever, etc.
Their brand online is very clean. I've just seen them do some like really dark, right?
I killed another girl with a chainsaw.
Troubled, dark person.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
This person dressed as Jeffrey Dahmer, they would be like, never have I ever had thoughts about killing the person that I was in love with. Never have I ever killed an animal.
And people were dying to know who this influencer was, but they wouldn't say. They really keep the identities as an advertising angle for their podcast tour. A fan recorded a video of their canceled podcast tour where they admitted that this Jeffrey Dahmer character was actually Jack Wright.
Who is Jeffrey Dahmer in the Halloween costume story? Do you want to say it? Jack Wright.
They further went into how his public persona is vastly different than his private persona.
You know, their whole brand is very modest, very clean, like very whatever. Like they probably wouldn't even love to like be seen in some with me, right? Inside of Hollywood, like people who know this person know that they're like the exact opposite of their brand, like bad, like a lot of drugs, like a lot of like really dark, like I'll just always see them at like 9 a.m. at an after party, like doing crazy.
Y'all, I was actually shook when I heard this. This gave me a pause. I mean, if I didn't have reasonable doubt before, I do now, because of course, now I'm questioning his credibility. I also don't think Tana and Brooke have any reason to lie whatsoever. I mean, their entire lives write themselves. But anyway, I want to address too that as a human being, but also as a woman, allegations and accusations should be taken very, very, very seriously. Survivors need spaces where they can feel safe to speak up, and that's extremely important. And listening to their accusations and validating them are first and foremost the baseline of providing support. And that is what I did. I really went for Sienna as well. I was a part of that group. But that said, not all situations are straightforward. Like, relationships are messy, emotions are high. It's worth it to take a double take and really analyze it and look at it critically. I want to be careful and state here that I, as a woman, definitely know how serious these implications are. I know the nuances that should go into a situation like this, and I do believe that the victim should always be believed first. I will believe that until the day I die. So let's just get that straight. I understand that false accusations are statistically less than 5% of all reported cases, and based on the amount of unreported cases even I know about in my personal life, I'm going to go ahead and assume that false accusations are actually less than 1% of all cases. However, they do happen. It's not just devastating for the person accused, but it's also devastating for other survivors whose safety in their platform to speak up is now eroded because of this. And with people looking for ways to invalidate people, I mean, it's just a really, really sad thing, to be honest. If you falsely accuse someone, you're a piece of shit. Period, point blank, okay? Anyway, I just feel like this opens up a really big conversation about consent and accountability, and I guess I really just want to know your thoughts. At the end of the day, no one knows what really took place except for Sienna and Jack. I stand with Sienna not to disregard allegations, but to challenge how we rush as the public court of opinion, especially for women. What do you think? Has Jack's credibility kind of been teeter-tottering for you too? I mean, let me know if I missed anything or skipped out on any important details, or just simply your thoughts in the comments down below. I hope you found this video insightful. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.